Welcome to Elections 2024, Your Democracy, Own It. Today we're going to talk about candidate nomination, but before we even get there, why candidate nomination? It means we are about to have a very big event, which is an election. And in this election, there's contestants, and these contestants are candidates to be able to occupy seats, either in the National Assembly or at the provincial legislatures. The National Assembly has 400 seats, 200 of which are from a compensatory ballot, and the other 200 from the regions. And the regions are equals to provinces. So that is the national election. And then we also have the provincial election. In each province, there will be an election, and there will be people who are going to occupy seats in those provincial legislatures. So political parties and aspirant independent candidates can now submit their candidate lists in terms of political parties, and in terms of independent candidates or aspirant and independent candidates, they can actually submit their names. But then what are the requirements? In terms of parties, the first thing, you need to be registered, because political parties register, independent candidates do not register. Once you are registered as a political party, then it means you'll be able to participate in this election. And well, we have a distinction between unrepresented political parties and represented political parties. Now, represented political parties, it means those parties that have a seat in either the provincial legislatures or the National Assembly. And those parties do not have to prove their worth in participation in this election, because already they made a point that they are able to participate actively in election. That is the reason why they have seats. For them, they do not have to submit supporter signatures. But if we talk about unrepresented political parties and aspirant candidates or independent candidates which are participating for the first time in this election, they have to prove their worth and submit supporters' signature requirements. The unrepresented political parties need to provide 15% of the previous quota of the previous votes for a seat. So in other words, if you want to contest all the regions, you need to have the highest quota requirement. In Gauteng, for instance, you have 13,890 supporter signatures that are required. And if you get that, you'll be able to contest all the different regions for the regional portion. And when it comes to independent candidates, they need to have 1,000 signatures. All are having the same requirement in terms of the deposits. The maximum amount, if you want to contest all regions, it will be 750,000 rands. But it's important to note that aspirant independent candidates cannot contest the compensatory portion of the National Assembly, the 200 seats. They can contest the regional portion, and as I said, the regions are equal to provinces, or then they can also contest the provincial elections. Because in this election, there's two. There's a national election, which is the 400 seats in the National Assembly, and there is different elections in each province, the provincial legislature. So if you're an aspirant candidate, you can go for either the regional portion only, or you can then also go for your own province where you are actually registered. So these are the requirements for participation in this election as far as aspirant independent candidates, unrepresented political parties, plus the represented political parties who are already having seats in national legislatures. What is slightly different in this election as well is, as you know, the population in South Africa has increased. Then it means the number of seats have also increased in provincial legislatures. In the National Assembly, the seats remain 400, but in provincial legislatures, there's been an increase in provinces such as Gauteng. It used to have fewer than 80, now it has got 80 seats. And you can, just by way of watching the space, the political landscape, a lot of political parties, contestants, they are aiming for big provinces such as KwaZulu-Natal because they've got the highest number of seats. So if you look at seats, opportunities for a candidate, either from a political party or as an individual, to be able to win the seat. So what does winning a seat mean? it means you are actually gathering a sphere of influence in a particular legislature. So that where there are debates and issues to be discussed, you can be able to make your voices heard and convince in which direction policy needs to go and what changes needs to happen. Why is it important for the population of South Africans to know about this? Is because their participation in election actually directly influences representation in these provincial legislatures. So we've been calling upon people to register to vote, and the reason that needs to happen is because you will be able to then make sure that your preferred candidates or preferred political parties win as many seats as possible. Because as part of the societal issues, we have concerns regarding development, and we've got a lot of competing priorities in society. And then you want to send people to these legislatures, either provincial ones or national legislature, National Assembly, to be able to represent you. So if you participate in election as a voter, you are really saying, I'm going to make sure that my preferred candidate is going to represent the needs of my community and make sure that democracy thrives, the will of the people. So this is all for now in terms of the participation in this election. It comes to independent candidates, aspirant independent candidates, and unrepresented political parties, plus represented political parties.